Diddy sold me to his sugar daddy and I barely managed to escape from there. Diddy and his sons tortured me a lot. I'm going to file a case against them.
I know that Puffy put a video up talking about he adopted a little white girl. I'm trying to find Ava. Her name was Ava.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Oh, Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child.
Going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being.
You got to understand this, and looking at her and some of the stuff that he was saying, and their relationship has changed since I knew them.
Fasten your seatbelts, for the action is about to heat up. Things between Terrence Howard and Diddy just got messier when Terrence produced receipts, which is bad news for Diddy. The tea is here. Terrence now claims that Ava, his adopted daughter, has been pursued by Diddy. Indeed, what you heard was accurate. When Terrence said that Diddy had attempted to hit on him, we all assumed he had spilled the beans. However, it seems out that was only the beginning. Just getting served is the true mess. Rumor has it that Diddy's already lengthy list of legal woes has now become worse as the feds have added 2 more charges to his amended indictment. And get this, rumor has it that Ava might be one of the latest victims in the case. Like, what? And if that's not jaw-dropping enough, there's talk that Ava will actually be taking the stand to testify against Diddy in court. The situation is rapidly escalating into a confrontation in the courtroom. And guess who might be the hidden weapon to ultimately bring Diddy down? Sure thing, Terrence Howard. He already stirred things up big time when he told the world about Diddy supposedly trying to seduce him, but this new chapter is next level scary. Like, how much more does Terrence know? What else has he been holding back? This isn't simply celebrity drama anymore. It's a full-blown legal thriller playing out in real life. So, grab your snacks because the tea is boiling and we're ready to plunge deep into the chaos.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah. Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands off with somebody. A number of producers coming to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks.
Yep, Terrence actually said that, and trust me, it doesn't stop there. What began off as a jaw-dropping statement about Diddy supposedly trying to make a move on him has now evolved into something lot darker and way more troubling. Terrence claimed he wasn't the only black man who found himself at one of Diddy's so-called freakoff parties, and according to him, these weren't just wild parties with flashing lights and loud music. Nope. Terrence said they were setups. He portrayed an image of Diddy supposedly targeting black men, breaking them down piece by piece, and stripping them of their manhood in some weird power play. He described it as a recurrent, premeditated pattern, preying on men when they're most weak and most exposed. And Terrence didn't mention names, but the way he spoke, it was evident he wasn't just talking about himself. He stated there are others in the profession who've been through the same experience but are keeping quiet, either because they're terrified, humiliated, or both. He even remarked, "When you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it."
Speaking of dark things associated with Diddy, this is his adopted daughter, Ava Baroni Combs. She looks a lot like missing child Ava Baldwin from Texas. And it's kind of hard to deny that this age-progressed picture of missing Ava Baldwin looks a lot like Ava Baroni Combs. After this surfaced a few years ago, somebody made an account in her name, but it's not confirmed her. This all came to light after an Instagram live that Diddy jumped in that his daughters were putting on. With everything confirmed, it is uncomfortable to watch.
Diddy went online with, and he said that he found her on the street and that he adopted her. This was during COVID. And, you know, it made me wonder because it said this little girl that's missing.
My name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents that you're my child also. Please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with his kids.
That's like borderline suspect. I don't want nobody. You want to get it. I adopted you like Madonna adopted kids, and everybody else adopted kids. Charlize Theron, everybody's ever adopted Sandra Bullock. I adopted you because I felt that you could, enjoy also having a black parent to take care of you and help you out. So, just clarify it because it's crazy out here online. So play with the kids. I got permission from your mother. Say all of that. It's crazy out here.
I met Jesse and Lila when I was 6 months old.
6 months.
And then, basically, sisters. All 4 of us. So. And then I always come over.
Yeah. And it's Ava Baroni Combs. Come on. Let's go.
And that phrase hit hard. He was talking about the folks who went to those infamous puffy parties, who got caught up in something they thought would never come back to haunt them, only to wind up being used, played, and emotionally devastated. 22 2 sao 2 2 sao 2 sao 2. Now, just when we thought that was as deep as it goes, whispers started going around that Terrence was still holding something back. People in the know started whispering, suggesting there's more to the story, something even worse involving Diddy and, astonishingly, his adoptive daughter Ava. Then Terrence himself threw fuel to the fire when he put a video online, giving heavy clues that he was being threatened by powerful people. He even threatened that if pushed, he'd divulge everything, and to make sure we knew precisely what he was referring to, he dropped the hashtag #ManCard. The same word he used when he talked about Diddy's attempts to strip men of their masculinity. He said, "If you're going to speak against me, then use the same courage it took for me to say these truths, man to man, eye to eye." That wasn't just a warning, that was a challenge. And then, in classic Terrence Howard flair, he took it up a notch and basically declared that if this evolved into a battle of words, he was ready for a real duel, like old school, one walks away kind of duel. Now, moving on to Ava and how she's purportedly one of the witnesses anticipated to take the stand in Diddy's forthcoming trial, things are becoming very scary. For the longest time, people barely recognized Ava Barron Combs, but now she's suddenly back in the spotlight, and not for reasons anyone imagined. Fans are drawing the dots, and from what Terrence Howard has hinted at, Ava may have been far more involved in this entire controversy than anyone realized. And that has folks looking back at the time when Diddy first revealed her to the public, since things aren't adding up. It all goes back to 2020, right in the middle of the pandemic, when Diddy randomly stepped on Instagram Live and introduced a little white girl called Ava as his recently adopted daughter. It was quick, casual, and honestly, a touch too off the cuff for something that significant. He proudly presented her to his followers like it was breaking news, saying,
name's Ava. I'm a Scorpio.
No. What's your last name?
Oh, Ava Combs.
What's your other last name?
Ava Baroni.
Ava Baroni Combs? Yes, it was breaking news. Diddy adopted a white child. I want you to tell them the story about how I adopted you. But you still have beautiful parents but you're my child also. But please tell the story.
So, I was on the streets, and then Papa Combs decided that he would like to be a caring man. So then he saw me and decided to pick me up and said to come inside and play with.
Diddy once bragged about adopting a white daughter off the street. In the video, she said her name was Ava Baroni Combs. Twitter's community notes said it was a joke, but people are not so sure. You see, Diddy's ex-bodyguard said the reason Diddy's homes were raided was because he made girls go into ex-traffic work. And some say Ava was part of this ring. And what's even crazier, there is a missing girl named Ava Grace Baldwin who disappeared when she was 14. And the missing picture looks the same. People track down her TikTok and people are worried for her since she's in a hotel with a man. So people think that she was sold into this life.
Most folks brushed it off, thinking maybe it was just a feel-good moment at a rough period. But now that new alarming information about Diddy are surfacing, people are reliving that moment with a fresh pair of eyes, and the red flags are everywhere. In the video, Diddy even compared his adoption of Ava to Madonna's. Yes, that Madonna, whose own adoptions have been surrounded by legal upheaval and accusations of abusing children. And the way Diddy told how he took Ava in didn't seem like your standard adoption story. Ava remembered being on the streets, then added, "Papa, aka Diddy, woke me up and invited me in." He talked about gaining permission from her mom and even joked that adopting her was like what Sandra Bullock and Charlize Theron did. But this wasn't some Hollywood press release. It was real, unpleasant, and loaded with so many dubious moments that fans are now watching the same clip and feeling straight up nervous. And here's the thing, that was pretty much the last time we saw Ava. After that video, she seemed to vanish. No more family photographs, no birthday posts, no updates, just radio silence. She showed up once or twice with Diddy's twin daughters, but other than that, crickets. And when you consider the fact that Diddy had her calling him Papa Combs, you'd expect her to have a more constant presence in his life, not just fade into thin air. What's even more disconcerting is Ava's body language in that video. A lot of people stated she appeared uncomfortable, like she didn't really want to be there. Her smile didn't quite reach her eyes, and she kept staring off camera, almost like she was looking for someone to step in or give her a signal. It didn't feel like a loving family moment. It was forced, contrived, and when you view the clip again through the prism of what we know now, everything hits differently. Diddy's sons, who are now generating news themselves with their own legal difficulties, were forced into the spotlight, all suited up and smiling. But where were his daughters? Where was the rest of the family, the ones who usually appear in Diddy's carefully managed image as a loving father and mogul? Nowhere to be seen. Ava was introduced as a trophy, not a person. And now comes the surprise that has everyone holding their breath. Ava might be one of the victims in this federal lawsuit. Let that sink in. The same girl who was paraded around as a symbol of giving could now be at the very core of one of the most frightening allegations against Diddy. Sources close to the investigation claim Ava's name has apparently been referenced behind closed doors. Not just as a witness, but as someone who may have directly suffered from the activities being examined. And if that's true, then this is no longer a PR disaster. It's a scandal of criminal dimensions. People are beginning to doubt the entire timeline. How did Ava wind up in Diddy's care in the first place? Why was there no formal documentation or follow-up? Why did she depart so quietly with no explanation, no farewell, and no acknowledgement? It's as if she was erased from the story the moment she outlived her usefulness, and that's exactly what Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, warned about. Gene said Diddy used Ava like a prop to generate sympathy, to clean up his public image during a time when he was under duress, and soon the cameras stopped shooting. He allegedly ditched her as if she never mattered in the first place. Behind the scenes, Gene maintained it was all fake, a sham, and now federal officials are apparently going into those exact same behind-the-scenes moments, searching for any indication of Ava's stay inside the Combs residence. And that's where things turn truly dark. Gene revealed that investigators are seeking for obscene movies and photographs involving young girls, some probably underage, taken within Diddy's mansions. He claimed they're going through electronics, cloud storage, surveillance footage, anything that would show the truth. He didn't identify Ava directly in that part, but the internet linked the links, and the ramifications are terrible. Because if Ava is genuinely involved in that footage, or if she was even exposed to the things people are murmuring about, then we're talking about more than manipulation or abandonment. We're talking about trauma, possibly exploitation. And to make things even more strange, 50 Cent is apparently known for a long time. He's been dropping hints, sending cryptic comments, and warning the world about Diddy's alleged actions for years. Most others brushed him off, called him petty, envious, just trying to stir the pot. But now those warnings are starting to look like receipts. We all know 50 Cent is the king of keeping grudges. He's nasty, relentless, and never forgets, especially when it comes to Diddy. Their beef has been smoldering for years, and it didn't stop at diss tracks or Instagram shade. It runs considerably deeper, especially because 50's also been at conflict with one of Diddy's closest allies, his longtime DJ. But here's where it gets disturbing. 50 Cent recently warned that what the public knows about Diddy might only be scraping the surface. He dropped a terrifying line saying, "This is why they put that tape out. They know they can't charge him with what we saw, but they know we can't unsee what we saw." That one sentence has fans and critics alike digging deeper. According to insiders, 50 purportedly has concrete evidence, real receipts, about what Diddy allegedly did to Ava, and he's gearing up to put it all on blast in his upcoming documentary. For context, last year 50 Cent announced a docuseries on Diddy's dispute. He didn't hold back either, previewing the title, "Did He Do It?" and branding it with his signature GLG, Green Light Gang. He went on to say, if he's smart, he'll file for bankruptcy, hinting that Diddy's empire might be built on more than simply music and booze deals. It might be constructed on secrets, manipulation, and crimes. But then people were preoccupied by the other drama around Diddy, so Ava's story was buried. But things changed when Terrence started dropping indications that he knew more about Ava's link to Diddy than anyone had previously acknowledged. Right after that, the feds updated their indictment, and it was explosive. They added 2 new anonymous victims and explained in horrifying detail how Diddy, alias Sean Combs, had allegedly built a lifestyle of mistreatment, verbal, emotional, physical, and psychological. The materials stated that Combs led women into organized displays of obscene acts.
It's craziness, man. And you know what's so crazy is, bruh, that all these stories has been around the industry for a long time. All these industry people know that Diddy been acting like this and doing this and trying to engage. Yo, it's a lot of stories that goes around in this industry about not just him, other people. Jimmy Iovine. Ain't nobody talking about Jimmy Iovine. He got charges and everything on him, but he got those publicists that's keeping it out off of CNN, is keeping it off the major news reports. Nobody's talking about that. This is something that goes on, man, that they're gonna push up under the rug, and a few years later, Bad Boy 5, 6, 7, 8 will be out.
sometimes with himself, sometimes using male commercial workers. These weren't just crazy parties, they were supposedly orchestrated events. Freak-offs, as Diddy called them. According to the accusation, these freak-offs were elaborate, carefully organized, and videotaped. The dossier even suggests that women were moved across states and nations to take part, often under false promises, threats, or financial manipulation. But here's where things take a darker turn. The Fed said that Diddy would pressure women into these acts and then force them to accept cash afterward, simply so he could claim plausible deniability. Basically, he'd distort the circumstances to make it look consensual, while in truth, the ladies may have been pressured, misled, or outright threatened. That strategy doesn't merely blur the boundary between permission and coercion, it erases the line entirely. And because so many people online are eager to discount or humiliate the victims, calling them gold diggers or opportunists, it's easy to see how this technique can work in public opinion, even if it doesn't hold up in court. The indictment showed far more. From as early as 2009 until 2018, and again between 2021 and 2024, Combs allegedly recruited, transported, and kept women for commercial intimate actions using force, fraud, or coercion. He didn't act alone either. The records claim his enterprise includes people who helped carry this out, and now the streets are talking. Rumors are growing that Ava could be one of the new nameless victims added to this indictment. Given the odd circumstances of her disappearance from the public eye, and how Diddy leveraged her picture during a period when his reputation was under fire, it wouldn't be shocking if the feds started drawing those dots. Now, these are the information that Terrence has been telling concerning Ava. He stated that Ava was the daughter of a family friend of Diddy's and that she was apparently close friends with his daughters. But here's the part that doesn't stack up. In the footage that released, we see Diddy kissing and clinging to Ava like some kind of freak. If she was friends with his daughters, then where were they? The only persons seen in the video were men, and the way Ava side-eyed Diddy, it's hard to resist the sensation that something was awry.